You really feel that with Wilder, one mistake.
Yeah.
And it's over. It could be over.
It could be over, because he's probably the biggest puncher in history. One of them, anyway. I don't remember seeing anybody else with 39 out of 40 knockouts ever. Do you? I'm a heavyweight historian, and I don't believe anybody had that record. 39 out.
Joe Lewis had a lot of knockouts.
He did, but nowhere near the same.
No.
Klitschko got a lot of knockouts.
Klitschko had 50 in the end.
But nowhere near the same as this.
No, not in percentage. No.
No.
But onto Wilder though. I mean, you guys, you had a very lively 3-day tour. I mean, people say, but they respect each other as well, and he wanted to fight you. I believe he wanted to fight you, Tyson, because he wouldn't have wanted to fight you after 2 or 3 more fights that you'd had. My view.
Yeah.
He sees. I think he underrates you, in my view.
And you know what I think? In all this, I think when I was on top of my game, these boys wasn't talking. They never had nothing to say. Not one of them. But I think they see he's been off 3 years, he's been ballooning, he's been drinking, he's been playing around. He's had 2 easy comeback fights. If we're ever going to beat him, this is the time to do it. Because we let him get rolling again for another 4 or 5 fights, and there's no chance of beating him. And they're trying to do it while they've got the best opportunity, which any sensible person would. And the thing is, that's what they're banking on. They're banking on me being not the same fighter as I was years ago. But I'm not the same. I'm better. I'm a lot better now than when I fought Klitschko. I've got more experience. I move better. I'm stronger. I'm more wiser. Cleverer. They say when you're a challenger and you become a champion, you improve 40%. That 40% didn't just fall away from me. I've got that now. It's in the bank. And I have improved so much as a fighter. Not just under Ben Davison, but just that Klitschko win. It improved me so much. 12 rounds of him improved me so much. And I was quite shocked with myself when I went back into the gym at 27 stone. I'd never lost anything. I was sparring with Daniel Dubois when I was 27 stone, and Joe Joyce as well, and Joe will even tell you how awkward I was and how I had the speed still at that weight. And if Daniel wants to speak honestly, then he can tell you the same. I haven't lost anything. My movement's good, my speed's good. I read a lot of interviews where they say my legs are gone. And I've got no legs underneath me, but you saw me in that gym today. Did them legs look gone to you?
No.
I was dancing around that ring like a gazelle. On ecstasy, maybe. I was on my toes all 10, 12 rounds. I don't feel gone. I feel good. I feel very good. Like you say, I'm 30. I'm in the flirty 30s. And I'm ready. I'm ready for battle.
But they say that heavyweights are...
mature late.
Yeah.
Yeah, my Uncle Huey now, God rest his soul, he always told me about this. He said, you won't mature till you're in your 30s, late 20s, 30s. And I think he's right. I'm really coming into my man's strength now. Me being very tall takes longer to mature and longer to get your act together. But the way I look at it, Gareth, is the way I've always looked at boxing is very, very simple like this. If I'm any good, I'll win. And if I'm no good, then I'll lose. And I think Shane made a very good point a couple of days ago. He said, what's the difference in winning and losing? I said, go on. He said, how a man comes back and what he does when he does lose or win a fight. See, me, I've never tasted defeat. I don't know what it's like to lose. And it'll be a test of character, should I get knocked out.
But do you think that you lost something but maybe gained something when you won those belts? You were the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, and then partly not your fault, partly the way you felt and what happened to you, partly the fights didn't happen, the belts went away, you went AWOL and had to sort yourself out. That you realised that it wasn't until you'd lost them, like you weren't the champ anymore, that you realised that you needed them back.
Well, I can give an honest insight on what was going on. Brutally honest as always. It's okay. I went to Germany, done the unthinkable. And I was on top of the mountain. Like I say, nobody disputed that I was number one on the planet. There was no dispute from anybody. Okay. And it was like the fire had died in my soul, if that makes sense. There was no desire anymore. I could have continued to box on for money, but I always said to myself, Gareth, the moment I don't want to box anymore, money will never dictate to me what I'm going to continue to do, because I wouldn't let money destroy what I built my whole life to do.
Where does that come from? Where does that feeling about it, knowing that, come from then in you? That you won't be dictated to by money, or if you've had enough?
Yeah, because I look at the world and everything's controlled by money, apart from me. Because in that Klitschko rematch, I was guaranteed a lot of money, excess of 10 million. I worked all my life to get to that stage so I could make some money. And when I had the winning lottery ticket in my hand, I didn't want it, because I knew I couldn't go into that Klitschko fight with no desire and no will to win. And I wasn't about to get laid up the canvas by Klitschko for money, because that's what would have happened. Because I was suffering with depression and I had no will to win. I didn't even want to fight anymore. But I felt it coming on, because before the Klitschko fight, before we even left to Germany to finalise the camp, Shane was there. I said to me dad and my two brothers, Shane and John, and I said, look, win, lose or draw this fight with Klitschko, I said, it's going to be my last fight. I won't fight again afterwards. And I said, what are you talking about? Why? You've worked all your life for this, to get into this position, from being a little child, going to that gym all your life, sacrificing everything for this moment. And if you win, you don't want to continue. I said, yeah, that's correct. I said, because for this fight, I want it. I want to win. But I know I'm not going to have any desire afterwards. And he was right, I didn't have any desire. If Peter will talk sensible and honestly, which he always does, then I'm sure he can tell you exactly what happened.
It wasn't able to motivate you back again, yeah?
No, there was no motivation.
What happens to you when you've got no motivation then? Do you literally find it hard to get out of bed in the morning? Is it as bad as that?
I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
It's like we went away. Peter knew that I was struggling at this time, and he knew what I was going through with my own battles. And it was like, I need to get him away from it. So he decided that we was going to go to Holland and train, because we'd had good times in Holland years previously.
In the woods, yeah?
In the woods.
Yeah, we've been there.
We always had great times there.
I remember coming there when a fight was that when the hay fight was called off and we all came out there? We all came out and spent 2 days there.
That's right, yeah.
Was that?
Yeah, that was hay fight.
Yeah.
So he said, right, let's go over here, and I think he was trying to get back what we had a few years before, the desire and the will, and I think he saw that I was lacking in all categories. So he wanted to motivate me. We're going back over there so we could reunite and get that flame burning again. And we set up camp in Holland again. This time I was heavyweight champion of the world. And I was there and I felt so down on a daily basis. But I gave myself one more day, every day. There wasn't one day that went past I was in Holland for that Klitschko 2 rematch training camp, where I didn't go to bed at night saying I'm going to go home in the morning because I've had enough. This isn't for me anymore. I physically knew and mentally knew I couldn't do it anymore. The fight was gone. There was zero fight left in me anymore. I didn't want to do it. I said, another day, another day, another day, another day, another day. I was torturing myself for more days. Peter could see in my eyes that I didn't have it anymore. Didn't have that desire. I just didn't want to be there. And in the sparring, I'd stand there and let big heavyweights tee off on me, and not defend myself. We had Robert Alenius over, and he can testify to this, Robert. And I was just standing there, and I let Robert hit me bang in the face with big right hands and left hooks. So he's going, what's going on? So then I'd get angry and come back, bam, 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 bam. But I'd just be standing there, I'd be headbutting the ring corners and stuff. Just gone completely. I just didn't want to fight. I just didn't want to be there.
It's dangerous, that place, isn't it?
Yeah,
to be in there
I
doing
wanted
it.
him to knock me out. I wanted to be knocked out on the floor. So Peter said, look at this. He said, well, what are we going to do here? He said, he doesn't want to fight no more. Doesn't want to do it. And no matter how much money was on the table, I couldn't motivate myself. They had big posters of me all up and down the gym, like big banners and that in Holland. We had everything, the best gym you could ever get. We had an office full of all proteins and everything. We had everything, the best of everything. Couldn't get no better training camp. Our friend Barry, he built us a massive gym over there, and weight section, boxing section, big bag, speedball, everything. The best of the best we had. But still I couldn't get motivated. We had the best sparring partners, everything.
Why do you think you're seemingly even more popular in America than Deontay Wilder is?
I think Americans, they love the comeback story as good as anybody. And I think my story has captured the imagination of the public. Because it's almost like a fairy tale story. I went from rags to riches, back to rags again, suffered with depression, contemplated suicide, and lost everything I ever had and worked hard for, to then turn my life back around again and get back to the pinnacle of the sport within a year. It's a compelling story, wouldn't you agree?
I do agree, yeah, and I also think Americans they like the Brits naturally, and I think they like characters. I think, you might be seen as the eccentric Gypsy King as well, because you like to play, you're fun, and I think in the last year, the public's seeing a different Tyson Fury.
I think they're seeing the real me.
Yeah.
Before it was an act. I had an act to play because I wanted to be world champion, and I needed to get people interested in seeing me.
Was the thing with Deontay a bit of an act over the 3 days? I mean, I don't want to press it was an act because you're promoting a fight.
No, it wasn't an act.
Were you trying to get under his skin?
I think we were both trying to do our best to do what we could do to each other, really.
Yeah.
There was times there when I thought we was going to have a fight. Really, like people say, oh, it's acting, whatever, but
it's close to the line.
Face to face with two unbeaten champions, both got pride, both got a point to prove.
And you're fighters at the end of the day.
We're fighters. We're getting in each other's face, calling each other names. It goes one push too many, and it's off. So it was heated. It was a heated 3 days, and I was exhausted afterwards. I'll be very honest, and I'm sure Deontay will say the same.
Were you sick of the sight of him?
I wasn't that I was sick of the sight of him. I was just physically and emotionally exhausted because I was doing hundreds of interviews. I was going from one place to the other, filming for promos and whatever. Then we had to put on the press conferences and do all the talking and all that.
Was it private jets and everything, or?
Not really.
Because you went London, New York, LA.
Yeah. We went London, New York, LA. Just
you didn't
planes.
go. You didn't go economy class though, did you? You couldn't fit you in an economy class.
No, I did have a good seat. That led down and whatever.
But that is exhausting doing those press tours, yeah.
People think it's easy. Oh, it's sort of the best thing about boxing, all the media and all that sort of stuff. But it is exhausting. It's very exhausting. And when I got to Big Bear, I was exhausted for a few days. It took me a few days to recover all the travelling as well. 11 hours, 7 hours, and 5 hours plane journeys and stuff. It was exhausting. I was glad it was all over. And then recently I had to come back down again a few weeks ago. Do it all again, public work.
I've watched all of it, yeah.
An all-day interview.
Where you threw one of the American journos out and very nicely. Tell me what you feel when you're close to Deontay Wilder. Then, I mean, do you respect him?
I respect him as a fighter and as a man. Yes, of course I do. If I didn't, then we'd be in the wrong game.
Do you need a dislike for him to be able to hit him and to knock him out or to
No.
outbox him? Or?
No, I don't need a dislike for anybody. It's like I said before, it's my job, it's what I do, what I get paid to do.
He seems to be an angry man, though.
He's,
Or maybe he isn't with you privately, I don't know.
he does seem to be an angry man, like he's got a point to prove, hasn't he? Obviously, to everybody's eyes, it's like, oh, Tyson Fury's a lineal champion. Deontay Wilder's a belt holder. And it's like, he wants what I have, and that's to be considered as the best.
But doesn't it amaze you, though, that I've done my own straw poll. I asked airline stewards, people sitting next to me on the aeroplanes, people in taxis, the Uber drivers, do you know who Deontay Wilder is? I haven't found someone yet who knows who Deontay Wilder is.
Exactly. So,
I mean, don't get me wrong, I was down in the wildcard gym with you. If I'd asked anyone in there, they would have known.
Of course.
If I ask any boxing fan, they know. But the mainstream do not know who he is. Does that surprise you, though, in America?
It doesn't surprise me, because it was the same with me, really. When I was just a boxer, it's almost like boxing fans and sports fans all know who I am. But you have to be a crossover star to the general public. Now, I don't know how many people you could ask, 1,000 people in England, anywhere in the United Kingdom. Have you ever heard of someone called Tyson Fury? And I don't think there'd be many people who would say, no, we haven't heard of that guy. Who is he? What does he do? Because it wasn't just sports. I hit the headlines for the wrong reasons, the right reasons. So many different things. The mental health side of things has just gone through the roof. Popularity, like, more people know me in America than know Deontay Wilder. I was in Big Bear, and a guy came over to me, oh man, that Klitschko fight, great fight. And he said, oh, what are you doing over here? You training for a fight? I said, yeah, training for a fight December the 1st. Who you got? I said, I'm fighting Deontay Wilder. Who? Deontay Wilder. He said, who's that guy? I said, he's the American World Heavyweight Champion. He said, no way. Didn't know him.
Is he Deontay Wilder who, then, really?
Deontay Wilder who? So I believe Deontay's thinking he needs to defeat me to give himself some gratification. And what better way to do it than catch me when he thinks I'm on my lowest and thinks I'm doing it for the wrong reasons. But I'll tell you the truth and be very honest as always. If I didn't think I could beat Deontay Wilder, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here for the money, because, like I said many times, Gareth, you know, I live in a nice house and I drive.
You can call me Russell, it's okay. You were about to call me Russell.
Yeah, I was.
You live in a nice house, you know, you've got a beautiful family.
Yes, but if we had to move out of that house into a trailer somewhere and not even have a car, not have nothing, I would prefer to do that than to go into this fight knowing I can't win for money. Because the houses, the cars, the watches, the clothes, whatever, the lifestyle, it all will leave us one day. We can't take it with us. Nothing. Nothing we do on this planet will ever be taken off it. It has to stay here. You know, I've lost loved ones in the past, I've lost things and things that are close to me and people, and we will continue to keep losing people who we care about, friends and family. And it's a journey of life. But while I'm alive on this earth, I wouldn't sacrifice what I've worked all my life for money. I think I showed that with the Klitschko rematch. I wasn't going to go in there and get beat for money. Although it was a large amount of money, I've probably got more money for that than I am for Deontay Wilder now. So I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. And I know Shane's not a millionaire, but whatever he's got, he would give so I could win this fight. My dad the same, all my family, everyone. And that's what it means to us. It means more to us than money. We would give everything we've got, and we would all be skint on the 2nd of December if I could be guaranteed a win. That's what boxing means to our family. Not money. You could give me 100 million to all of us to lose, and I wouldn't do it. I'd rather try and win for whatever I'm getting on the line.
Is that because there's 10 generations of bare knuckle boxers and there's boxing in the DNA that it is so
it
special? It
means so much and it's so dear to us. It is, it's a special thing. Not many people can get to grips with what I'm saying. If Because at the end of the day, everyone needs money to survive and whatever, and everyone wants a better life, and for the kids, they all want better lives. But when you get that better life, was it what you wanted? Was it what you expected? Was it what it was cracked up to be? Because what I found with fame and glory and riches and everything else comes with it is a large emptiness, void. And all the materialistic things in the world can't fill it. And for me, as a personal person, the only thing that can ever fill that void is God. But that's just me.
Do you you don't like Eddie Hearn seemingly in comments? Obviously, you may deal with him next year. I'm sure you want to. I mean, I don't know about. There's a rematch clause with Deontay Wilder, yeah. Yeah, so you beat Deontay Wilder, you've got to fight him a second time. But at some point, presumably, you want to fight Anthony Joshua.
To be honest, I'm not really looking at the future.
Right.
Because like I said before, nothing's cast in stone. And if I felt like how I felt after Klitschko, then I won't be returning for a while, you know. And it possibly could happen. But
would it be for different reasons this time? I mean, I don't know if you can control depression, or whether it was depression or not, or desire maybe, because it could be depression, it could be desire, it could be just you just don't want to do it anymore, that you've reached another Everest, as we talked about. You know, when we saw you in Morecambe, you hinted at it that day when you had your Ring Magazine belt.
yeah,
That you weren't. There was a hollow feeling about going back.
there was.
But do you think you could deal with it better this time?
I think I've learned now to manage my depression and stuff because it never goes away. Anybody who suffers with mental health problems, it'll never ever leave you. It's always there in the background somewhere, but you've got to learn to manage it. And I believe I can manage it better now. And as for do I like Eddie Hearn or not, I think he's a decent bloke, to be honest. He's funny, charismatic, young, good looking, tall, everything that a good promoter should be. British, got good dress sense. I don't dislike Eddie. I think he's a nice fella. Like when I've been in his company and that, we always have a laugh and chat, whatever. And I understand it's just business. Look,
he says you're hard to negotiate with.
I am not born yesterday. I'm not green either. You know, I know my worth. And if anybody in life knows the worth, then never sell yourself short of your worth.
Isn't a fight though, like you say, we might want it, the public might want it, the boxing fans, the sports fans want it. The biggest fight that Britain would ever have would be you and Anthony Joshua in the next 12 to 15 months.
But it seems to me that they never talk about fighting Tyson Fury.
No, they don't. You're right, they don't.
Exactly. It seems to me that this is a one-way deal.
It's like, styles, isn't it?
Yeah.
Styles.
It's like I want the fight because I don't want to deprive the public. Whatever happens in between me and Deontay Wilder has got nothing to do with me and Anthony Joshua. The Joshua and me fight should happen whether or not.
Yeah, I agree. But what did you see in the Povetkin fight?
I thought he'd done really well, to be fair. I thought AJ handled it terrifically. Because Povetkin is nobody's fool. Povetkin's a dangerous customer. And as you've seen with Duapas and Takam and everybody else who he fought, Mike Perez even, Marius Vac, all these guys, he handled them very good. And the only person to ever beat him was Vladimir. Vladimir beat many, many, many men. So there's no shame in losing to Vladimir Klitschko.
He didn't have an answer for Klitschko, did he?
He just didn't.
And Klitschko was probably a very strong Klitschko at the time as well, with that very, just the jab and the grab, and when they're hurt, maybe the right hand, but nothing more than that.
Exactly, and it seemed to work.
And the leaning on and all of the...
But I think with Joshua's performance over Povetkin, he done really well, and Povetkin hit him with some good punches and that. And I even believe he shook him up a few times, and I thought he did fantastic to win and to carry on what he's doing for boxing.
But what did you see there that you liked for you?
See, for me to fight, for me and him, it's totally different. It's like, I want to say this, but I don't want people to think that I'm being nasty towards him. Because He has the awesome power and the strength and the body and the mass and everything else that goes with that type, but he doesn't have my boxing ability. And anybody who knows boxing will tell you, admit the truth. And unless he catches me with a big punch, he can't win, really. He ain't going to outpoint me. And I'm a very slick customer. So it is a very awkward fight for him. Even the worst Tyson Fury that's ever been will give him a hard night because it's styles make fights. Not because I'm so great at what I do. It's just because I'd be awkward for someone like his style. As we saw with styles making fights, just an example is Joe Frazier, George Foreman. Foreman sparked him easily. And then Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier, he had 3 hard fights. And then look what Ali did to Foreman. So styles always make fights. You can even put Ken Norton in that mix as well. Some people have hard fights with some people and have easy fights with others. And then some people who you can beat easy probably knock out the man who beat you. And that's just styles.
How does the style between, not this particularly relevant, not after a big answer, have you thought about Joshua and Wilder?
Yes, I have. And without being biased towards the British guy, I think that Wilder's probably all wrong again for Joshua. All wrong. Because he's very tall and rangy, and we know he's got dynamite in his hands. And Joshua, if you throw 5 punches, you probably hit him with 4. Because he blocks with his hands. And that's he's got the classic style of defence where he catches, counter, classic defence of his hands up like that there, walking forward, taking it on the arms and gloves. But with someone like Wilder, you can't afford to stand there and take them punches because no matter how strong you are, he'll get them shots through.
So you against Wilder is for the number 1 position in the world?
Me against Wilder is going to have the awkwardest night on the earth ever. Whoever wins out of me and Wilder will then, I believe, will then go and fight Joshua and be victorious. Not because Joshua's terrible or whatever, but I just think me and Wilder are all wrong for Joshua.
But do you but if you were, but your view is that this is for the number 1 position in the division right now?
For sure.
Yeah.
You got the lineal champion, WBC champion, 2 of the most awkward, avoided, dangerous fighters on earth. Let's not forget, we don't want to go into politics in boxing and all that, but there was $80 million on the table for Joshua to fight Deontay Wilder. And that wasn't taken.
I think it was 50.
50 and 30 for a rematch.
Oh, right. Yeah,
So
right,
80.
was it? Yeah.
So I don't know what people are making in the finances, it's none of my business. But if you can turn 80 million down for 2 fights, then obviously there's either 2 things. You're either making more than 80 million fighting whoever, Povetkin and Takam and Parker, them type of opponents, or you think you'd rather have 3 of them opponents than 1 Deontay Wilder because he's more dangerous. And I think it's the latter. I think it's the Wilder's dangerous and it could end the career, the golden goose, the money conveyor belt. I don't think it's so much Joshua because as a fighter, we all believe we can take on armies and anybody. But it's the management, and that's why he's got great management. I could never say Eddie Hearn's a bad manager or a bad promoter because look what he's done with Joshua. Look at the job he's done with the fighters he's got. He's done a fantastic job of managing him and promoting him. And I don't believe anybody else could have done the same job in the world. Anybody.
Does it bug you that he's got the 3 belts that you held?
No, because
not at all. No.
Not at all, because I didn't defend them belts, and I wasn't physically or mentally ready to do anything about it. Like I said, I could have boxed for money. Of course I could have done. Went in there and got knocked out. But I'm not about that.
Do you think because the mainstream don't understand technically a lot of them boxing, and it takes a lot to understand it. Do you think, like you say, he's been very well managed and very well promoted, but do you feel that, you may have even said before, that the British public is slightly conned thinking how good he is as a boxer?
No, I think he's awesome. As a fan and as a boxing enthusiast, I think he's a very awesome specimen of a man.
Have you met him?
Yes, many times.
Do you get on?
I don't say we don't get on.
But you're rivals, really, aren't you? You're
Well,
the
we're
biggest
in the
men
same
on the
division. And
No, you're right, but you're rivals, though,
yeah,
aren't
we
you?
don't want to get too friendly, you know what I mean?
No, exactly, yeah.
But I think he's awesome. I think what he's done for boxing, what he's done for his family and everything else is awesome. Very awesome. He's changed his stars. And I admire that so much. Like Deontay Wilder, myself, anybody who's successful at what they do means they put in a lot of sacrifice and they've worked their nuts off to be there. And anybody like that deserves so much respect, and they deserve 10 times more than they ever get.
You know how hard he works. Though.
I know how hard boxing is, and I know how hard that they all work to be where they are. So they need applauding for it. And you know, sometimes that...
What's happened to you? You used to be the terror of everyone.
I know, but...
You're very chilled out, aren't you?
It is, but the thing is before I had to make a name for myself. Years ago, I wasn't the Gypsy King. I wasn't Tyson Fury. I wasn't this iconic, legendary fighter who grows a massive beard and can come back from all these problems. I was just another boxer who was winning. I wasn't tried and tested. But now I'm qualified to talk professionally because I've been there and I've done it all. I couldn't talk about world champions before because I wasn't a world champion.
Is it fun for you though? Because I know it's almost like a gypsy tradition or traveller tradition. Some of the traveller boxers used to walk with their fans to the arenas or to the rings. How much fun was it when you won in Manchester and you walked through the street? I mean, that video is almost like an advert, isn't it?
The video doesn't do how many people justice there was.
How much fun was that for you though? With people walking down the street?
It was amazing. You probably never ever see that again in boxing.
There were thousands of people with you.
There were thousands. The whole of that big strip through right through
Dean
Manchester.
Street?
Yeah, Deansgate.
Deansgate.
Right through Manchester, from the Emian Arena right down to the Hilton Hotel at the bottom. I think it's well over a mile.
Yeah.
And every person walked to the end. And they were screaming, "There's only one Tyson Fury." We walked past it.
You were as well.
Yeah, I was as well. Everybody was. I was so caught up in the moment, and I loved every minute of it. And the fans will remember that because not often do they ever get to do them sort of things with their sporting heroes.
They're normally adverts, Tyson, when that happens. It's not normally real life.
I had no security with me.
No.
I was in amongst everybody. Me, my dad, Shane, everyone was just there, yes, coming on. And then the police didn't even try and stop us.
No, they just kind of...
Everyone stood back and he just nodded at me and winked at me like that. And I put my hand up like that. And we just kept walking. And people were just coming to the crowds and crowds and crowds. It was an amazing experience. At the end of it, it was like, thank you to everyone who came.
Because I went on the radio after that fight, because I know you were horribly overexcited during that fight, you know, picking him up, because it was relief you were back, wasn't it? That's what I said on the radio. I said, I know Tyson well enough to know that the opponent wasn't an issue for him was ever going to be in a, you know, they probably should have got someone who was 6'7" and